What if the dream didn't vanish? What if it became unaffordable? What if people stopped believing hard work actually guarantees stability? What happens when generations inherit anxiety instead of opportunity? And what happens?
All right, welcome back to Why You Can't Handle the Truth, the No Holds Barred podcast where we drop facts over feelings. I'm your host, Sergeant O, and today we're exposing Xavier Becerra's political career. No fluff, no childhood stories, just the raw record of lawsuits, scandals, failures, and insider games as he runs for California governor in 2026. Before we tear into Becerra's time as Attorney General, let's first talk about what the job is actually supposed to do. The Attorney General is the Chief Law Enforcement Officer, California. Their main duty is to ensure that the laws of the state are uniformly and adequately enforced. They head the Department of Justice, represents the people of California in court, give legal advice to state agencies, assist local district attorneys, and can step in to prosecute major cases. They're supposed to protect consumers, fight corruption, defend public safety, enforce civil rights, and watch over natural resources. In short, they work for you, the people, not the politicians. You know, I like to give you some good examples of, well, maybe a strong attorney general. As one is Daniel Luggren, California, 1991 to 1999. Tough on crime, pushed the 3 strikes law, defended victims' rights, and focused on the real law enforcement. Other strong AGs nationally have taken down fraud, cracked down on gangs, and held powerful interests accountable without paying partisan games. Now, let's look at the recent California pattern. The bad example, protecting the corrupt machines. Kamala Harris used the office as a stepping stone. Her record includes fighting to keep people in prison on technicalities, weak action on transparency, and turning the AG role into a political launchpad. Then we have Ron Bonta, the current AG. In my opinion, his main focus has been fighting Trump and protecting the left's corrupt machine rather than serving the people of California. When Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco tried to investigate a reported discrepancy of over 45,000 votes in a special election that was a Prop 50, Bonta didn't assist. He went to the court to stop the investigation and to seize the ballots, which are ended up destroying. Instead of helping looking for possible fraud, he blocked it. When Trump tried to help California by opening the coastal oil pipelines to increase our own energy production and lower costs, Bonta sued to block it. And when federal investigators uncovered major fraud in California, Bonta went on TV trying to take credit for it. Even though his office had been slow and resistant on many local issues. Meanwhile, his wife, Assembly member Mia Bonta, authored the AB 2624, a bill critics call the Stop Nick Shirley Act, which opponents say that would protect foreign fraudsters and NGOs from investigating journalism by imposing fines, takedowns, and penalties on watchdogs exposing corruption. All of this while spending massive amounts of taxpayer monies and campaign funds on lawsuits and legal defenses, instead of protecting the Californians from crime, fraud, chaos, as we see over. I mean, you see how real AGs fight for the people and protect them? Well, these three right here, Harris, Becerra, and Bonta, protect a corrupt Democratic machine in Sacramento. Let's talk a little bit about Xavier Becerra as the California Attorney General. Becerra made his name by suing the Trump administration over 122 times. He positioned himself as the leader of the resistance. These lawsuits burned through tens of millions in taxpayer dollars. Reports put it at around 41 to 43 million. Let me give you specific examples so you understand exactly what he was fighting. He sued to stop Trump from enforcing immigration laws and building the border wall. Trump campaigned on securing the border and stopping illegal crossings, the very thing millions of Americans voted for. Becerra went to the court to block the funding and environmental approvals for the wall. He sued against Trump's efforts to cut federal grants to sanctuary cities and sanctuary states policies. Trump wanted local police to cooperate with ICE on deporting criminals. Becerra fought to keep California a safe haven, even for those who were illegal. He sued to protect the DACA when Trump tried to end it. This kept protection for certain illegal immigrants in place. He sued multiple times over health care, defending Obamacare rules, and blocking Trump from changing how subsidies worked. Even when Trump was trying to lower the costs or give state more flexibility, he sued over environmental rules, blocking Trump from opening more offshore drilling, and taking for the subsidies. You see what they're doing now, using it to take our money. He also weakened the fuel efficiency standard and changing water policies in the Delta that affected farmers, really. These were direct attacks on policies that Trump ran on and the voters supported in 2016. While Becerra was busy suing over these national fights, critics say California's own problems, skyrocketing housing costs, crime in the streets, homelessness camps, and business flight, all this didn't get the same energy. Other controversies during his time as AG, he resisted police transparency reforms. When a new law, SB 1421, passed to release records of serious police misconduct, shootings, and dishonesty, Becerra's office fought against releasing older records. Journalists and transparency groups had to sue him to force compliance. He sided with the police unions over the full openness to the public. Slow or avoided deep investigations to major jail informant scandals and certain high-profile accountability cases. Prioritized these national political battles over using the full power of the AG's office to aggressively clean up corruption and crime in California's own city. It wasn't until he got hired as the HHS Secretary by Biden, 2021 to 2025. The executive test he failed after being California's Attorney General. Becerra got his biggest promotion yet. President Biden appointed him Secretary of Health and Human Services. This is a massive job. HHS manages Medicare, Medicaid, Obamacare, vaccines, public health emergencies, and the care of vulnerable population, including unaccompanied minor children at the border. This was supposed to show whether Becerra could actually run a huge agency and deliver results for people. Instead, it really exposed serious problems. I knew about this right here even before, and it's now that I'm finding out who was in charge of it. The migrant children crisis, the most damaging failure. During this big surge of unaccompanied minors crossing the border, HHS under Becerra was responsible for taking these kids from the Border Patrol and placing them with sponsors in the U.S. Over 250,000 unaccompanied children entered into the system in 2021 to 2022. Becerra pushed staff hard to release these kids faster, reportedly telling them, quote, "This is not the way you do an assembly line," unquote. When they weren't moving quick enough, the agency started to rush. Placements and vetting got skipped. It weakened safety checks. Results? The New York Times and congressional investigation found HHS had lost contact with over 85,000 children after releasing them. That's more than 1 in 3 kids. They couldn't reach him for follow-up calls. Many of these children ended up in dangerous situations, working brutal factory jobs, farms, and construction, some in forced labor and trafficking rings. There are cases of kids placed with sponsors who turned out not to be real family. Some included placements at locations like a strip club. Becerra's he downplayed it, saying they just didn't answer the phone. But the numbers and stories speak for themselves. Remember that raid here, when they raided this marijuana plant with ICE and they protested it and they found those kids? Those are examples right there. Now let's talk about the pandemic and public health response. Inside Biden's White House, Becerra was often described as sidelined and ineffective. That's by the people in the Biden administration. When new outbreaks hit, he struggled with visibility and coordination. Clear example was the monkeypox outbreak in 2022. The response was slow, delayed vaccines, confusing messaging, and finger pointing. White House officials privately called him out. They're saying that, he was out of depth and quick to place blame instead of solving problems. Look, running a giant federal agency, I guess it's really hard, yeah. But when you lose track of 85,000 kids and fumble public health crisis, I'm sorry, that raises serious questions about whether he's ready to run the state of California. Let's talk about, you thought it was over? No, this guy just don't. And no, the campaign finance scandal, the insider corruption that it's still haunting him now. Let's fast forward to 2026, the run for governor. Well, this scandal exploded in late 2025. It's still damaging him now. He might be indicted. Federal prosecutors uncovered a scheme where Becerra's longtime chief of staff, Sean McCluskie, and powerful Sacramento insider, Dana Williamson, y'all know her, Gavin Newsom's chief of staff, arrested. Well, they allegedly stole about $225,000. I was about to say million, but it's thousand, from Becerra's dormant campaign account between 2022 and 2024 here in California. Here's how it went down. When Becerra went to Washington as HHS Secretary, he brought McCluskie with him as chief of staff. But McCluskie wasn't happy with the big pay cut that came with that federal job. So according to prosecutors, they set up a fake consultant invoices charging $7,500 to $10,000 a month for supposed account maintenance and routed that money to McCluskie through a no-show job for his wife. Multiple people have pleaded guilty. Becerra says he was completely unaware and calls himself a victim. He claims the payments were supposed to be basic compliance. Compliance with what? Well, with the Hatch Act. But critics ask, how does your closest aide steal from your own account for years without you noticing? Especially when the payments were usually high compared to anything he'd ever paid before. This goes straight to the heart of Sacramento insider culture. The same machine we've been talking about. Listen, if you ain't scratching your head by now, remember I talked about Pluto? Here, let's give you a Sergeant Oath salute. Look, this pattern just keeps repeating. I mean, we cover the big ones, but there are more pieces to show this same pattern, prioritizing politics and insiders over the people. As Attorney General, Becerra faced heavy backlash for his handling of police accountability, especially when California passed that SB 1421 to release records of serious police misconduct, shootings, and dishonesty. Becerra office fought tooth and nail against releasing older records. They even sent guidance to local police that critics said gave them cover to hide records too. And like I said, journalists and transparency groups had to literally sue him multiple times to force compliance. But it was the unions. He sided with the police unions over giving public full openness. He also drew fire for refusing to investigate high-profile cases like the Vallejo police shooting. Dragging his feet on the Orange County jail informant scandal, which eventually required federal intervention. During his HHS time, beyond the migrant children disaster, there were complaints from inside the Biden administration that he was often sidelined and ineffective. On public health issues. And now, in his governor campaign, there's an additional FPPC complaint accusing him of improper use of his dormant campaign account to make consultants after he left the AG office. That pattern's clear. Whether it's blocking transparency, rushing placements without proper checks, and surrounding himself with people involved in shady money deals. Accountability always seems to come from someone else. Hell, how the hell did they get Charles Manson, but they can't get these cats? So look at, there's the full picture of Xavier Becerra's political career. The lawsuit warrior as AG, the troubled executive at HHS, insider money scandal, a trail of other controversies. Is this the change California needs, or more of the same Sacramento mess we can't afford? I appreciate every single one of you who's still here listening to the truth when it's uncomfortable. I appreciate the people in California who are waking up and realizing we deserve better than career insiders protecting their own machine. And I appreciate the real watchdogs and journalists who keep digging even when Sacramento tries to shut them down. California's too big, too rich in potential, and too important to keep handing power to the same people who keep failing us. And to those people who keep failing us, let's give them a big Sergeant O salute. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What part hit you the hardest? Next episode, I'm going deeper. This time, Fiona Ma, another corrupt politician. Like I said, if you like what you heard, subscribe, share this episode if you want the truth to spread. And I'll see you on the next one.